Are you sober curious, thinking about stopping alcohol, maybe gonna just dwindle down to a drink or two? Well, today I have a special guest with me to discuss just this. I'm Leslie Urbis. I'm a registered dietitian and a personal trainer. And while I currently am not giving up alcohol, I'm interested in having this conversation. So, Sarah, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course. I would love to know more. What made you start this journey? Anything, give us a starting point. Like, what was the turning point? What was the decision?
Okay. I'm going to be real and raw with you guys. My name's Sarah Sawyers. I've been sober for 2 years now. Sober curious. I feel like it was on and off, but I remember a very specific moment in my life where I really was thinking about sobriety, and I was on a trip in Vegas. It was October. It was the year before I got sober. And I just remember going on the trip and wanting to enjoy the trip differently because, like, Vegas is party world. Everybody drinks in Vegas, it's around you everywhere. And on that trip, I just thought, we have like all sorts of fun stuff we can do in the morning, like walking and doing stuff like that. Like, I don't want to be hungover. That was my first thought. It wasn't this whole like, I'm crazy and like, I drink all the time and I can't stop drinking. It was more of I was thinking of how my life could be if I took it out completely. Because I was the type of person who would have a drink and then have another and then another and then always trying to find my next drink once my drink was over. Does that make sense? Like when my drink is up,
Mhm.
I felt like I need to go get another drink instead of just stopping at two or three. It was almost as if I was an all or nothing type of a drinker. So I didn't want to be hungover, and I wanted to work out in the morning at the gym at the hotel, and I wanted to be able to stay up all night and remember my whole night. And that was kind of like when it started clicking for me. And I had like an argument with my husband literally in Vegas because he wanted to drink and I didn't. And I was almost like forcing it on him to not drink. And
Mm.
which is totally wrong. Don't do that, guys. But I'm going to be completely honest. I wanted him to do it with me at that time because I was like, I don't want to drink. I don't want to. I was at a work event and I am a top tier leader in my company and I wanted to represent my company a certain way. And I wanted to almost like fit the lifestyle of health and fitness to the fullest because when I drank, I would drink too much. And if I drank a lot, I would smoke. I would smoke cigarettes, like legit. And I'm a personal trainer, health and wellness leader. And I would go that far, like have cigars and things like that. And I was just like, this is just not, I don't know, I almost felt like I was living a lie because I was not living that lifestyle fully every time I drank. So that was where my sober curious started. That was literally where I just started little blinks. And then as far as other things, I had a lot of reasons why I should quit. My dad was an alcoholic. He actually died when I was 21. He had cirrhosis of the liver, and he was the wake up next to the bed and drink a warm beer guy. Like he drank heavily. And I remember whenever he got diagnosed, he still drank. Like it was like he just couldn't quit. And he fought it his whole life. And so I had every reason like to not drink. So it was almost like I just needed to just make that move and just stop. So, do you have any questions so far?
No, that's fabulous. I love what you were saying about Vegas, which is so funny. I go to Vegas. I have gone to Vegas frequently, like in my entire life, multiple times before I was actually 21. I
Right.
think it was actually 22 or 23 before I actually went to Vegas as a 21-year-old. I used to go as a child. But I completely understand what you're saying about desiring to be there present. Most of my friends that always went with me, that always annoyed me the next day. I'm like, what is wrong with you? What do you need to stay in the bed for? Like, I'm going to the gym, I'm up, I want to get to
Right.
the pool early, I want to get a good seat. And I won't forget it had to have been the last time I was in Vegas. Yeah, the last time I was in Vegas, my friends, it was a beautiful day outside, and I was like, I just want to walk, I want to go around, I want to tour all these hotels, I want to do these things. And they wanted to just sleep. I got one of them to come with me, and I was so sad. I was like, why is everybody ruining? Like, it's Vegas. I mean, you get
Right.
to walk from hotel to hotel. Like, it's 1 minute you're in Paris, the next minute you're in, France, or not. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, no. So I'm curious. obviously that's a huge leap, right? To say,
Right.
I'm going to be sober for the rest of my life. Was it easy at first? Did you take it day by day? How did you go from there?
Oh, it was so hard. And that's when I realized that alcohol is so normalized that you have a problem sometimes and you don't even like see it because it's not the standard alcoholic. Like so this is how it kind of all happened. So I had all those thoughts and they were going with me. And if I could give like one piece of advice, it would be to express it to your significant other and not try to do everything on your own, because I had a lot of thoughts of wanting to be sober, but I never communicated it to my husband. Because we drank every weekend together. If Friday night hit, we were having White Claws, barbecuing. If we went out to lunch on Saturday, we would have like a mimosa or something. Like it was just on the weekends, it was almost like the card flew out the door and it didn't matter. We drank, but we did not drink Monday through Thursday whatsoever. So we never even had like glasses of wine at dinner Monday through Thursday, but Friday and Saturday and Sunday, we would have alcohol. And so I never told him that I was thinking about being sober curious. So that's like one mistake I wish I could take back and really talk to him about how I felt about it.
So,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I didn't say anything. I was just like in Vegas, I just like dumped it on him. I don't want to drink while I'm here. And like got mad at him when he drank, but I didn't communicate it. And then my birthday came around that following year. And we actually got COVID and we were in Florida and it was terrible. And I remember drinking because it like numbed the pain. I'm legit, like my body hurt so bad that like ibuprofen and alcohol was all I had while I was on my trip. So I went through and we were drinking on the trip. And then we came back and my husband and I had talked about something and I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm just not going to drink. And so that weekend came and I just said I wasn't going to drink. Um, and so my husband still drank like normal. No, he stopped for 2 weeks. He stopped for 2 weeks with me. And then he started reintroducing back into the wheel, the barbecuing and drinking. And then if we went out to eat, he would get a margarita and stuff. And I just continued to stop drinking. And I just never just took it up with them. I was just like, no, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to drink. I never in my mind said I'm going to be sober and I'm not going to drink anymore, because I didn't want to commit to telling myself that, because then I thought, well, if I tell myself that, then I'm going to be putting it out there. And then if I fail, everybody will know. So I was more so fearful that if I talked about wanting to be sober and admitted to my husband and told him that I wanted to quit drinking, that if I failed, I would be failing multiple people other than myself. So I didn't talk about it. So I don't know. Some people probably talk about it and get support, but I was so scared that I wasn't going to be able to do it that I didn't want to talk to people about it. So I almost did it in silence. So it's just like I just stopped drinking at social occasions and I didn't drink with my husband on the weekends. So mine was kind of like I went into it slowly. And I didn't, not until I admitted it on like social media, just like said, like I quit drinking alcohol and celebrated like a 6-month journey and then a year. And that's kind of like how it kept me accountable longer, because I spoke about it in public. So, and I did have a friend who quit around the same time I did, because when I finally said this is my first sober trip, it was only because my friend encouraged me to, and she was there with me and she was like, I'll do it with you. And I was just like, okay. So I didn't even tell my husband yet that I was going to be sober. I said it on social media on a trip, because I went on this trip and I didn't drink. I didn't have alcohol on the plane like I normally would. We were around parties and we didn't drink, and we went to California and had one of the best times we ever had. And so I just kind of realized that it was better without it. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then
totally.
the part of continuing it, it's kind of like it's literally like baby steps, because every weekend I wanted to drink. And every time we went to a restaurant, I thought about a drink on the menu. And then every time you go to a restaurant, even now to this day, when I go to a restaurant, they'll hand me the menu for alcohol and I'll tell them I don't want to drink. And one time this girl was like, y'all, you don't want to drink. And the waitress, and I'm like, no, I just want water. And she's like, oh, okay. But it stuns people because it's not normal to a lot of people. So I don't know. It's just different, but it's like step by step each day, just saying no. But it was more so I didn't have this huge issue with alcohol. But when I stopped drinking, I thought about it all the time. It was so weird. It was
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely habit controlled, right? Like, so it's, just social situation. This is what you do. I remember when I was pregnant with both of my kids, I felt a little weird. It felt like you were under 21 again, because you're like, well, I'm not.
Right?
And I was pregnant with our son through COVID. So
Yeah,
it was like, I was not drinking, whereas the world was, right? Like,
right,
so it was very
right.
much, and I don't think I ever missed it, like very much so, like you said, but it was like, it's just, a thing. You're just not doing it right now, you
Yeah, it
know?
just felt more like a habit I needed to change, or almost like my mind was wired a certain way to think that on the weekends you drank to relax. And when you went to a restaurant, you drank, to kind of like reward yourself or whatever. And so I had to like rewire that part of my brain to know that alcohol is not a reward.
Yeah.
Alcohol is not you work so hard today and you're so tired and you're such a great mom, like give yourself alcohol. Like I had to literally get that out of my mind because that's how I treated it. I have pictures of myself where I would take pictures and like laugh on social media and be like, break time, but I'm like holding an alcohol drink. And it's like break time away from my kids. And it's like I didn't want to be that person anymore. I didn't want to take alcohol and think like I didn't even want my kids to think that I needed to drink because they drive me crazy. Like I was just like, why was I ever like that? But it's like none of that opened up until later, to where I was just like, I don't need to reward myself with alcohol. I don't need to reward myself with anything. Life is not so hard that I need to have a drink. Like, no. So it was almost like I reached a whole new level of strength when I took it out. So I have zero regrets now because I'm like, no, I can handle social situations better. I can be around all sorts of different people and I don't feel awkward or like I need a drink to calm me down. Like I can just be myself, and I never have any times where I go anywhere and I'm hungover. I don't feel good because of alcohol, and I don't have to choose the low calorie drinks. I can just eat cheesecake instead. It's just like it's like I swapped it out, completely. But it's just been it's just been crazy how I realized how much it does control you, even though you don't know it. It's weird. It was
Yeah, Mel Robbins did a podcast episode on this. I'll link it below the show notes, but it was really interesting. And she was like, that's just because the habit has become when this is over, this is what we do. When
Yep.
work is over on Friday, this is what we do. When, we go on a vacation, this is what we do. It just becomes the routine. And so your brain is just giving you a habit. And then it's you trying to break the habit. It's just like anything else. It's just like smoking or anything. Even if you're in control and you're like, I'm not drunk all the time, I don't do things like that. But it's just one of those, like, your brain just goes, well, this is the habit. This is what we do. Right. And just like anything, you're awkward when you have to change a habit.
Oh
It's
yeah.
weird. It's weird when you buy a new house and you're trying to walk through it in the dark. You
Yeah.
need more lights, but then the more you get to know it, you never have to turn on a light and you never hit anything. Right. And
Exactly.
that's really the explanation. And I love that. I love,
Cooking was the same way. You're right, because I used to smoke cigarettes because I smoked when I was younger, and my mom smoked. My whole family was a bunch of smokers, and I would smoke to reward myself for like cleaning and taking care of the house. I would clean really quick, do the house, go outside, smoke a cigarette, do stuff around the house, take care of the kids, go smoke a cigarette. Like that was like mentality of it was always a reward system, or like this is what you do because you did this good. And that is literally the same thing with alcohol. It's like a hard work week of stress. Here we go. Let me reward myself for what I did. You know what I mean? Like it is literally a habit every single time. But I just didn't realize it was a habit that controlled me more than I wanted it to, I guess, because I didn't think I had a drinking problem. I just knew there was a lot of reasons why I didn't want to drink. And then I just outweighed the options. And I was like, there's more reasons why I don't want to drink, with my dad being like number one at the top. Like, why would I? I know his story's not my story, but why would I give something that took him away from me? Like, why would I give that any attention? Like that alcohol literally controlled him and he let it control himself. And why would I even want that around my family? So I got to the point where it was just like, it needs to go. It
yeah.
definitely needs go away. It doesn't deserve any part of my life. So it's
Love
gone.
it. And that's what's fabulous. I think the big thing that why I wanted to have this chat with you is to let people know, it's okay to be that person in the middle of, something that wants to go that way. It's okay to be that person that, says no, like, has the drink or two. It's okay to, still choose it. It's, listen to your own intuition and guidance and take it just like you did, one step at a time. And sure, it's really up to you and your habits and how you want to change. Very much like, I teach in the digestion codes and all the things like that, is that, your body personally has a code and it's talking to you. We just haven't been listening to it, right? And for reasons like that, when you're drunk, like you can't hear your own body, you're
No,
like, sounds
you definitely
great.
eat whatever you want when you're drunk.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to go ahead and eat this thing, even though I know like I, need gluten-free food, but it's going to taste delicious and then be in heck the next day.
Right.
It's like, yeah, totally, totally get it. So thank you for this conversation. I loved every second of it. For everybody that's interested, first of all, of course, like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Second of all, underneath this, I'm going to include her link to her Facebook, any other social media she has, if you want to follow her and her journey. She is also a personal trainer, and she also is, like she said, in the top tier of her company. So please feel free, check her out. Give her some love for sure. I have enjoyed following her on social media for quite some time now. So yeah, anything else you want to say before we close out today?
I think that if I could say anything is if someone is going through this, just support them, but know that I don't feel like not drinking around them, that's more uncomfortable when people try to not drink around me or change who they are for me. It's like I need to be able to be in those social situations, and I'd rather be in those situations with friends than anybody else. So don't try to change who you are. For me, that's how it works. Like I would rather everybody else just be exactly how they want to be and not feel like they can't drink or be a certain way in front of me and never feel like I'm judging. So we're not judging. It's our own story. That's the biggest thing. It's not us against you. It's us against the problem. It's not you person to person. I think that would be the best. So like, I don't judge people who drink. I'm like, whatever, that's fine. That's their jam. This was my story, not yours. So you do you.
Great way to end. Such a great way to end. And I think that that's really good because we give each other guilt and judgment and all of that every day. So,
My husband still drinks. No guilt. You do you do. She's like, this is
yeah,
my story with my dad. I'm fine. You do you. Yeah.
love it.
It's not
Thank you.
pushing
That's a
it on
great
you.
way to end it. To end it, keep doing you. Don't think anybody's judging you. In fact, we're really all just judging ourselves, right?
Right. Yeah. We're
Let
fighting
it
our own
go.
battle.
Awesome. Yeah. So check her out below. Again, like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next one after this. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Bye for now.